All right, everyone. I am here. So let's see. Just on my iPad here, waiting to hear myself chat, or if there's anybody out there who wants to let me know if I'm coming through, that would be great. Get out of here with that. All right, everyone. Oh, all right. So there we go. Again, there's a slight delay on the stream just to play ball with kind of trade ideas rules about streaming their stuff. Again, I don't think I should be any different, but let's go here first. So hello. So yesterday on the stream, you saw me stream the open and everything that was going to go on in the open, and then what I do when I trade the open, which is primarily scalp my own thing while robots kind of work in the background. I do that a lot as an engagement tool. Something to keep me interested and keep me focused on the market. So what we're going to do tonight, and we'll see which of these two things you guys seem to like better, is looking at my nighttime routine, right? And this usually takes half hour as I explain it with you guys. Maybe it'll take a little bit longer, but this is mostly what I do to get ready for the next trading day. I talk about it a lot in my videos with, how I trade the different markets and things that I do in that respect. I trade a lot with symbol lists with trade ideas, which means that I find the stocks that I find interesting. I put them into a list of stocks that are going to be traded the next day if certain things kind of arise. So let's go to the desktop here. Let's make sure that sized right. Yeah, it looked like it did. So here is my nighttime layout. And let me actually grab the chat so that I can chat with you guys, because that's kind of the point of live streaming, I guess. Let's pop that out and shift that over to that monitor. Okay. So this is my list. You guys are only seeing part of my screen because I have one of those, they call it an ultra wide monitor. I'm soon going to have two. It's basically a longer than normal monitor. So I just crop off, to show you guys what I want. And then, talk about what it is that I'm going to look for tomorrow and kind of how I'm going to trade that. So step one with this for me is always to go through these, which are the major indices. And let me bring in my pen so I can mark everything up. But how I've done this within trade ideas is just basically made a symbol list. And if you don't know, let me go over quickly. You can right click on any scan and you can hit configure. And then inside there, you can say symbol lists, right? And you can add or remove any symbol lists you want, right? So you see I have day trade long here, all kinds of different symbol lists. But right now, this scan that you're seeing back here is only using what I call indices and ETFs. And it's just the major things that I watch each day. And then I just have it sorted by the position in 5 days range. So what's strong and what's weak. And mainly I just want to go through this and I just want to see, okay, is this strong? Is this weak? What's going on here or there? So we start with TLT. And I zoom out and I go through this list every day. And then at the end of every week, I go through it again. And at the end of every month, I go through it again with just a different candlestick type of patterns. And then here on this chart, we got a 200-day moving average because I know people ask. Short-term moving average, I use the 8 EMA. Again, I mainly use that for trailing stops. And then I've just been experimenting with this 34 that the client told me to take a look at. But again, that's not something that I normally use. And actually, let's just take that off for this thing. And that's how I have my chart set up. So step one is to go through kind of what's strong and what's weak, right? So we have TLT that, it held on to the 200-day for a while. It bounced off the 200-day, broke through, and now it's retesting from the bottom side right here. So it'll be interesting to see if that holds this prior resistance right here, or prior support right here, if that holds as resistance, this moving average. And if we take a push back down, that would be, generally speaking, bullish for stocks. Next on the list is the XLU, which is utilities. And utilities are kind of a staple type of thing. They perform well when the market is more uncertain. I've got a peppermint tea here as well that I usually make of. It's supposed to promote focus. Because to be honest, the way I trade, this is my trading day mostly. In theory, if I didn't have all these other things to do, with consulting, and I'm always trying to build new algorithms, and I'm doing all this, but if I was just a swing trader and just wanted to swing trade, in this algorithmic kind of a way, I would be done after what you guys see me do tonight. So let's next take a look at, XLU. I guess I didn't really talk about the analysis of it, just slowly pushing up, right? Using this short-term moving average as a guide. You don't see anything really wild with these one way or the other. I'm actually going to turn down these studio lights I have a little bit here. And then here we have healthcare, which is gapping up a little bit after hours, which is interesting. I don't know if that's a bad tick or not, but we can see kind of a relatively strong base, and it's kind of looking to hold this area in through here. And the main reason I do this is I'm not going to trade any of these, or I'm not going to place trades necessarily off any of these, but this is kind of a zoom back and look at the entire forest, right? Instead of trying to look at the individual trees, I'm zooming back and I'm saying, okay, what is the market as a whole doing? What did today happen for that market? Like, what was the big kind of story of the day? So UNG is looking interesting here, right? Again, 200 period moving average. Only reason I use this, a lot of institutions like to use it, and you'll hear it talked about on CNBC and blah, blah, blah. So a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, but you can see it's been resistance here, and then it was resistance again here, and then it's kind of holding as support here. So I'm looking at this right here as kind of this potential down channel. We're at the top of this channel. So do we reject that and push down, or do we break through and maybe take a run at these highs? So if anything, UNG or natural gas is looking slightly bullish. Biotech is doing well. Looks like we had a long-legged doji, and again, I'm a candlestick nerd. We had this long-legged doji yesterday, also known as a high wave doji. Essentially, it signals a whole lot of indecision in the market. Oh, hold on. Sorry. You notice probably the color tone change in the lights. I have everything set so it simulates, because I live in Canada, and it's 5:40 my time, and I simulate day and night with all the lights through the house. They change kind of color tone as the day goes on. Helps for us northerner folks. Yeah, so we had this high wave doji, and we had another little kind of fat spinning top here. So a lot of indecision in this area, a lot of chop, right? Down to the Qs. So the Qs, the way to read this, if you guys don't know, is that anything that's full green like this on the position and 5-day range means it's at the high of the 5-day range, right? Anything that's has nothing in it like this means it's almost in the smack dab of the middle of the 5-day range. Anything very red is on the low end of the 5-day range, and the same with the 10 and year range I have here as well. Just gives me a general quick look of where things are in the year and and 2 weeks and then this week. So SPY, again, another doji here, and then a spinning top here, so just more chop and indecision in that market. Gold is very interesting here, right? You can see I drew this line a long time ago. We got prior support here, here, and here, and that's being resistance here and here with these little island reversals, which, it's just because it's an ETF instead of the future. But, also resistance here and here. So this kind of $180 area on GLD is the area to watch. If we're below that, I would be looking bearish, which again is generally speaking bullish for the market. And above that, I would probably be thinking more bullish. XRT just pulling back, the retail, but it's actually pulling back way less than the SPY is right now, so that's interesting. So some relative strength in retail there. Silver, same kind of look as gold, right? It's at this prior support, maybe now resistance type of area. Oil is, murdered like oil always is. The semiconductors are still holding strong. I'll be interesting to see what happens in the semiconductor space once Apple does its changeover to its own tech. So here's the SPY, right? And here's kind of the most important one to take a look at, but really just has this nice bull flag looking thing here with a lot of choppiness. At the end of the day, it opened at its high and it closed at its low. It's well still in this tail yesterday. And again, as a swing trader, this is where I'm really going to focus, right? So you see this tail in here yesterday, right? A tail just denoting that there's a lot of buyers that came in, pushed this up. And we're holding in the high end of that tail. So, this tail would be a big test for me to see, are these buyers going to defend this position that they did before? And if not, maybe they're going to let that go. We're below the short-term moving average, so it's not looking great from a short-term point of view, but as long as we hold the bottom of this tail right here, I think that's what's important. And of course, all of this in the predication of the giant news event, which is your guys' election happening soon. IWM prior resistance right here and here. And potential support here, although it looks like on the IWM and after hours we're pushing down a little bit there. Home builders, again, kind of the same look of the market, maybe a little bit weaker, but not too bad. The metals as a whole are doing much better. I think the metals as a whole are being supported right now by lithium. It might be an ETF I start tracking soon. As the EV space gets more interesting, that's what's going on here. So again, this stream is not meant to be super exciting. This is actually the reason that I trade like this. Like in my ears, I've got, these are noise canceling Bose headphones, so I can't hear anything around me. I have lo-fi hip hop on. Nice chill beats, right? This is where the thinking happens. And for me, as a guy who trades via robot, this is where the trading for tomorrow will mostly happen as well. And then financials, we're holding on to the 200-day moving average, but we're way relatively weak on financials with a much weaker day than normal, right? So I'm comparing the tail that we just saw on the SPY, where we were kind of in this top end range, and we push down. So financials are not really contributing, and that's something that I like to see. So that's step one, right? You can see that took maybe 10-15 minutes. It'd be quicker if I wasn't, drawing and pointing all this out. But that gives me a general flow of the market, right? We saw some outperformance in retail. We saw some underperformance in financials, things like this. So, you know, it gives me an idea of what sectors I may focus on when things come through. So now it becomes looking through a bunch of scans that I have for a couple things. So one other thing I've got to do is I've got to open up a new topless window. I need to make that my liked. And let's get rid of a lot of this. That doesn't look good. So what I do is I tell Trade Ideas in its auto trader every day to trade my liked list, right? So I create a list that's just my liked. Actually, everybody has this. You can see when this heart right here is lit up, that means it's on your liked list. And if this heart is empty, it means it will remove it from that list. And again, what I'm doing here is just checking to see if there's anything that was interesting. So for example, right, I was interested in KLIC if it got over this area, and told the robot if it got over that area and it wasn't gapping and the volume was good and all the parameters that you can put in, is to buy me some and put the stop down here. You can see it just fell out of bed, so there's no trigger on that. So I'm going through here and I'm saying, you know, let me remove anything that's no longer of interest to me. Like, and I guess another example is this stock today. I put this on the list the other day with this kind of hammer candle right here at this prior resistance area, and it bought it for me today. I got out actually most on this move just because I'm in scalp mode because of the election and holding a very tiny little bit. You know, earnings November 11th on that one. But that's how I trade, right? So anything I click, you'll see me click on this heart, is something that will get added to that list and taken care of for me tomorrow. Again, highly suggest it as a way to trade. It's a great way to say, these are the stocks that I'm interested in. Now I want to see X, Y, and Z occur in order for that to happen. So a couple lists we're going to go down. First one here is one that's built with customs, and it's looking for spinning tops. This one looks broken. Let me try this one here. Okay. So you can see it's looking for doji candles like this, right? And this is one of my favorite setups, is just taking a stock that's, you know, generally speaking, strong, and then pulling back and then puts in a doji around here, and then buying that as that breaks out, and then hopefully when it breaks that top, you get another couple people chasing it, and then I'm kind of selling up here. Is more or less, you know, one of my styles. So this is looking for stocks that are kind of strong, and then pulling back and putting in this doji. Check off. I don't know what you mean there. DTE, no. It's an ADR, energy stock, therapeutics. This home is kind of interesting, but not really. That's interesting. Both of these, which are VIX trackers, are setting up long. So that's something I got to keep an eye on for sure. So nothing from that scan that was interesting. Next is, and again, I do all of these same things kind of in order every day. Nothing really new or fancy. This particular one here is I just call rounded bottom play, which is just looking for stocks that have made this kind of these low bases and look like they could break out. So I actually like the look of this IACI. Your video, oh, it's covering your chart. Oh, Jesus, sorry guys. There. There we go. That should be better right here. Oh, 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 oh. Sorry about that. Let's move that. Put me up here. There we go. There. Again, sorry about that, but there was nothing we've added to the list so far, nothing that was super interesting. So this IAC, it's got kind of this interesting type of wedge look with this rounded bottom here. And then if I zoom in, you can see we have this kind of indecision doji candle here from yesterday or from today. So I just click this button right here and that will add that to the list. So if this kind of meets all of the criteria and breaks up into this area right here with this line tomorrow, the system will trade that for me just in this area. And again, if not, I will go through the list and remove it or keep it if it still looks good and move on to the next one. I'm scanning for things that are a little bit differently from my normal scan, and that's because of your guys' election. I will be in cash going into your guys' election, and then I will probably take the rest of the week off. Again, if you guys like this format better, let me look at the numbers too. The numbers are better. So again, this is how I'm going to figure out what it is I'm going to do, is by looking at these numbers. Again, if this is something you guys like, share it around, let everyone know, all that kind of stuff. And I like this better. Again, this is more of how I like to trade as opposed to on the open. So again, I'm thinking maybe 2 days a week or so, kind of going through what I'm looking through here. Where'd my music go? Yeah, there we go. So IAC is interesting. Momo, I think, yeah, I missed Momo, but Andy, I know, actually picked this one up today. CPE. Petroleum, pharmaceutical, manufacturing. I don't think there's enough room here for me. No, it's a point higher and then 25 cents. So there is a 4-to-1 risk reward on this setup. If I were to buy a break here and stop one under there, and then the rest pushes up through here, but I just think I'd have to be too big to make that worth my while to be comfortable. Any question, come in and ask question. Make sure you ask questions, guys, for sure. Let's make this interactive. Do you have to set up your stop limit order specifically there? So no. So trade ideas, and again, if you're interested, there's a link in the description below. Save you some money on trade ideas, and that is one of the reasons I do this, is because I am affiliate with them, so that would be a pay for me. Again, I like to just put all that out there. But what I can do within Trade Ideas, I can grab this window that connects my Interactive Brokers account, and I can, for example, say, if this stock breaks resistance and it's within the top end of yesterday's range while it's breaking resistance, then I want you to buy me some, and I want you to risk, let's actually do it like this, and I want you to risk me 1 ATR and to try to make 2 ATR or something like that, and hold it for 3 days or whatever, and then get me out. And so then when I plug it in that, if these things occur, it will do them for me. And for example, I have it sit out, say the first 5 minutes, because I don't want to get wicked in on that opening craziness. So I can set all of this up, and then I point it at the symbols that we're adding to the list. So if this is going to trigger, it's going to do it with all these rules. And I don't use these exact rules. I actually use, and this is, it's because this is the account I have to show people things and things like that. The other account I host up in a cloud, but I should have. So yeah, so I have this where I put stop at yesterday's low. I don't put a target in. And then I risk generally, $500-ish on any given trade. So for example, if we put this BLU on here, let me take a look. Does this move enough? No, that doesn't move enough. So what do we put? AIC. So if, for example, this AIC meets all these requirements, so it means it breaks yesterday's high, right? And it does it in the time frame I want, and it doesn't gap, and all of, there's no crazy volume, and there's no zero volume. So there's some volume that occurs. It will buy me wherever that price is. It will put a stop right under this doji right here. It will calculate the share size and buy enough so that if my stop gets hit, I'll lose $500. And then, in the example I just gave, it will hold that for 3 days, and at the closing price or the closing time of 3 days, it will get me out of the position. So I don't need to set up the stop limits, because I just don't want to hit it. I just don't want to buy it if it hits that price. I want a whole bunch of other things to occur as well. And it's like, think about it. For example, if you were trading, you may say, okay, I'm interested in the stock, but only if it does XYZ intraday. Whatever your setup is, whether it's a red to green play or a break of a moving average or whatever. So I'm picking the stocks, and then I'm having the robot do the intraday trading. So that's the main difference between this and just setting out those limits is the entries are algorithmically managed. So that's it for my round at bottom scan. Next is this one here, which I just call the scan, which is essentially looking for insanely high short float stocks. Right here, 77% short on Children's Place right here. So it's looking for crazy short float stocks that are near their short-term moving average. And what I do with this is, again, I'm using the short interest to kind of show me what it is I should look at. And then from there, I'm just using, my eye and my setups to say what are the ones that I may actually want to trade. And if that thing occurs, then the robot handles it and says only trade them if this happens. So B&G Foods, I'm interested in this. The earnings is November 3rd, which I will be getting out of everything in November 3rd anyway. Oh, no problem, Ryan. Again, anytime. If you guys like this content, again, it's going to be, I do this anyway every night. So it's just whether or not you guys are going to like it enough that it's going to, spread the word of the stream, and, people are going to buy trade ideas and book mentoring sessions and things like that with me. Because I'm a trader, right? I got to make money from everything. But again, I do this every night, so the plan may be Tuesdays and Thursdays, for example. I'll pop on and do this. So yeah, BJS, again, if it gets over this candle, I like that this pullback here, and then it found support. It looks like it may be bouncing off. 28% short float, so that's added to the list as well. Angie is interesting, but it doesn't really move that much for me, to be honest. This one looks really good, but earnings are the 29th. So I like this kind of pullback here. So this bull flag that's going on. And then I also like the fact, let me bring this in here. I like the fact that it's got 25% short float, but with earnings 2 days away, maybe, but I'd have to be out in 2 days, and I'm not really. I like to give them a little bit more room to breathe, even though the election's coming up. So again, the closer the election gets, the more short term I'm interested. SYNA here looks interesting as well, but it's gapping down here pre-market. Fate Therapeutics. So Fate looks interesting, so we're going to add that to the list. So again, nice kind of bull flag look here. And then a high wave doji yesterday, and then a little doji here today. Let me bring in single stock window. Actually, let me just do this just to keep this in here so you guys can see. So what I'm looking at here is 22% short float. Now that I'm thinking about it, also if we do this at night, I could remove the stream delay to make it way more real time, because there's really nothing to be gained from doing that. Earnings November 10th, so it's a long way away, and again, it's in the biological product section, which is something that can move. Really, really strong stock, making a little bit of a pullback here, kind of over these levels. It may be interested going forward. BRCX holding the 200-day, just doesn't move enough. LVGO has earnings. Big lots. I actually put this on the weekend wrap-up list here short. Never triggered, and now it looks like it's bouncing up here. I just not interested. It's too much resistance above for me to be super interested there. CCK is kind of interesting here. I'm going to add this one to the list. Not much of a short float, but it pulling back, and it's holding this gap, and put in this high wave doji here. So I think above 90, right? It could be a nice little pop. Earnings are behind us, so we don't need to worry about that, except the election. Just looking at another scan that I have on another virtual machine. PLT, I'm going to add, no, I already own some PLT. Never mind. Set C, WDC, AA, G. Okay, that was it from there. Let me get you guys back here. So yeah, you're right, Ryan. There's many options of things you can do with trade ideas. I think it's always best to find a technology like trade ideas and find your trading style, and then make sure it fits that style. So that's what you're seeing me do right now. Again, the entry, watching these stocks tomorrow, entering these stocks, doing the stop losses, all of that will be taken care of for me. All I would need to do, again, if I didn't have other obligations and other things that I like to do, like algorithm development, things like this, I could, in theory, boot this up tomorrow, and I could just hit go and then check on it in the evening to see if there's anything I need to sell or any positions I need to manage, and then rinse and repeat for the next day. Oh, I don't like this music. See, last time I played music in the background, even though YouTube said it was no copyright, and then I woke up to like 50 emails for copyright claims on that last stream, so don't trust them. Alarm.com is pretty interesting here. Nice pullback in through here. That's right. So bull flag, doji, 18% short float, and then earnings past the election. So I'll be out anyway. So that will go on the list. It's going to add a little price alert here as well, because I really like the look of that one. I guess a perfect example of what I'm talking about today is VIPs that I took. So I added VIPs to the list yesterday, right in this area right here. It triggered through today. You can see it if you scroll in. Opened up, and then it pulled down a little bit, and then it pushed higher. So when it pushed higher, it triggered me in long. We had this ramp up, so I took a look at it at the end of the day, and I think I was in... let me see if I can actually get... I don't like showing my live account because I don't know what's in there, but... Let me do this, and then let me do this. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, Windows. I tried to share something with you and it didn't like it. Let's try that again. And desktop. Yeah, whatever, that one. So then here is VIPs. So the entry was 1940. So again, right in this little area here. And then you can see I only have 80 left. I think I had it calculated the risk at like 300 shares-ish. I think it was like 280. That's probably why I have 80 left. And then, near the end of the day, I just chunked those out. So I've got $100 outstanding and $300 on that one trade today. And that's why I like to do what I do here, is because that was, me listening to, lo-fi hip hop. I'm getting another one of those ultra-wide monitors. So the top one's probably just going to be, I don't know, TV or Netflix or something like that. Like, it's a very chill type of environment. And, it's 6, to be honest. If I wasn't yammering on as I am now, I'd be done. But I go through all these lists. This BHVN is very interesting as well. So we're going to add this one to the list. So the reason I'm adding so many to the list is because I don't know what they're going to do tomorrow, right? So I want to give the robot a whole bunch to watch because I don't have to. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, listen, take the first, 5 max that enter that list. I'm going to add pizza here. I'm actually going to add this as a price alert here as well. I really like this Nice, calm, chill pullback here, right to the 200-day moving average, where it's put in all these indecision candles, right? Spinning top, spinning top, spinning top, hammer, right? Engulfing candle, hammer. So all like five reversal type symbols or candles, sorry, right at the 200-day, which is also this resistance area. So for me, this is going to be worth a shot, you know, over this, you know, $80 or so area with a stop right here. And again, the reason is I never ever will hear me say I'm a 90% win rate trader. You know, those guys are bullshit. But it's the fact that, you know, even if it just got this high, you know, here's my risk, and then this is my potential reward. And that's all I do over and over and over again, right? Risk, you know, risk $500 to make $2,000-$3,000. Do that over and over and over and over again. You know, your hope is by the end of the year, right? You've rolled the dice enough times, even with a 50-50 win rate, you're a happy man. And then as accounts grow and things like that, that risk of 500, I hope to make a risk of 5,000 to make 20,000, and just over and over and over again. But it has to be slow. It has to be like, you know, the whole thing about boiling a frog, right? You slowly raise the temperature. Everbridge here is interesting as well. A nice little pullback here. High wave candle, 13% short float, and earnings after the election. So that's going to go on the list, and I'm going to set a little price alert here as well. I set these price alerts on ones that I'm really interested in as kind of a backup. If it doesn't meet the robots parameters, but maybe I see that price alert go off and I'm here able to watch it, well then, you know, maybe I'll enter it myself. Rare, but again, just keeping things on. So now that we're in, this list is sorted by short float, and now that we're into kind of the 13% short float area, that's about where I stop, is you know, near the 10 type of area. And then the next scan here is looking for inside days, and it's sorted by high relative volume. So if you don't know what our relative volume is, it's essentially what's today's volume versus what's average over the last 30 days. So this one has 8.77 relative volume. That means it's done almost 9 times its normal volume today on SAP, and an inside day. So that's all this scanner is looking for, these high relative volumes and inside days. Duncan's going to go on a list for a short-term scalp here above this. I'll add this in here. I think Trader Stewie would call this a power earnings gap. Oh no, hold on. Took a second look there, and the earnings are the 29th pre-market. Yeah, I'm going to take that off. I'll leave the price alert, but I'll take that off. So you can see how chill, how relaxing this is. You know, I will be, full disclosure time, my entire life has gotten better since I've started this kind of trading, because it's so chill, and because it's, you know, I'm doing everything when the lights are off, you know, as in the flashing red and green of the markets. It makes things much easier as a way to make sure that I am, you know, I'm able to focus on things during the day, because the robot's taking care of all these for me. Again, like building new algorithms, like mentoring clients, like the work I do with trade ideas, the consulting I do with different crypto firms, while still, right, making the income from trading. And again, it works better for me. A book that I super highly recommend is called Thinking Fast and Slow. I forget by the name of the guys who wrote the book. I should probably remember that. The kind of concept there is there's different people who think in different ways, right? There's people who are fast thinkers, and a fast thinker is someone that you can, that's good on their feet. They make, quick snap decisions, and they usually do a really good job with that. Then there's people who think slow, and they're analytical thinkers, right? They're thinkers of, the guys think chess, right? The guys who will take their time and will come up with a game plan. They do this in a slower, more methodical way. If you're a fast thinker, then this kind of high-speed day trading, in and out yourself might be the way to go. And it used to be how I traded for a living as well, and still do some of it from time to time. But if you're a slow thinker, more like myself, I'm going to add this one to the list as well. Just a nice bull flag here with some indecision candles. I think it could, coil up, wave 1, wave 2, and then maybe a third wave higher. If you're a slow type thinker like me, then this is the way I think you should trade is, figure out well in advance your game plan, find a way to automate that game plan. Rent a car, looking interesting. Almost an engulfing candle here. I'm gonna add this guy to the list as well. We got to be getting there. Let me actually top list. Let's look at my liked lists. Oh yeah, we're getting close. I don't want to keep too much on the list, but I want to keep enough that there'll be enough to trade. And then again, the game plan will be, and if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, do so. Again, also if you're not, I get these emails from YouTube all the time. That's my Twitter handle that basically say it's like 70% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed to me. So I'm supposed to yell at you guys to subscribe. And there's a little bell next to it, and you can actually get notified when I go live. So again, make sure you know those. But what I may do is I may then post the outcome of trading these symbols tomorrow, so you guys can say, okay, what happened from these things. That might be an interesting thing to do too. So right now we're into the relative volumes, 1.4, 1.5. Less interesting, right? The reason I sort this by relative volume is you can get a lot of, as you're seeing, garbage. But I want to see things that have high relative volume with an inside day. The last type of a scan is my attempt to make a bull flag, and you just said that you were interested in a bull flag scanner, so I can share this one because it doesn't have any customs, Ryan. So here, take a look at that and give that a shot. And that's the list I'm going through here. It's just off screen for you guys, but it's looking for, again, just these kind of consolidation type moves. Not perfect by any means, as you can see, but it's not bad. And then when I'm done this list, that's it. That would be my entire work for the day. Sleep number is looking interesting. 16% short float on sleep number, and holding up strong here with a high type base. So I'm going to go and click through this. YouTube's emailing me all the time. Am I blowing up on YouTube or something? Like, check my subscriber count, but like they're all in my face about monetization and stuff. It's like I'm not big enough to worthwhile monetizing. I've been doing this for 10 years and I got like 2,000 people that follow me. Chewy's interesting. Par is interesting. That's a second scan I've seen par from. Oh, quit it, dog. All right, so that is all I see. So it's about an hour. So I think I could do this for an hour a couple times a week again if it's something that you guys are interested in. So let's go through the list. At the same time, I'm going to grab a couple snapshots, and then I like to note them up on Twitter. So again, if you're not following me on Twitter, you should do that. Because what I'll do is I'll just write up a little, this is what I'm interested in and why. No political crap or anything like that because I'm Canadian. Okay, so let's take a look. So we have BGS. We're looking for it to break out of this little area here. And good short float. So we'll add that in. IA, decent short float. I think this is going to be more of just to see if this is a continuation, if we can get back up to highs here. Rent-A-Car RRC, we're looking at this, bull flag here with this kind of engulfing candle. The main reason I put this one on is you can see it opened right at its low and it's closed pretty much right at its high. So just opened and ran. AIMC, basically, I think I may have just glossed over this one while I was rambling about other things, but you see the 3 bottoming tails that happen kind of right in this resistance area. So every time it's come back down to reclaim this prior resistance, a big buyer's come in. So I'm going to add that one. That one's really interesting to me. Alarm.com, same kind of thing. Nice tight flag, 18% short float. BHVN, nice high tight base with a 17% short float. Well, I've only found you recently since I started using TI and found such little info out there on the advanced broker and auto trading system. Watched quite a few of your videos. More technical instead of most videos out there. Well, thanks. And again, when I'm done going through this list, I'll kind of walk you through how I do it. Pizza, PZZA. Again, I really, really like this. This would be the one that I'd be focused on the most. So let me I'm going to do this here. And I'm going to add that. We'll tweet about that when the stream is done. And Fate would be a nice high tight. Oh, is that right, Damien? Earnings tomorrow. Oh, you're right. Tomorrow post market. All right. Well, thanks for that. I'll take that off the list. We should notice that because it does turn red right down in our single stock window there. CCK is just holding this gap so far. And SMBR, a nice high tight base with some indecision. So those will be the 3 that I'll tweet about. So now I'm done, right? So again, if you guys weren't here, it's get up, walk out that door, move on with my life, right? I've spent some time today building some algos and blah blah. It's 6:30, time to shut it all down and move on. Now, part of the reason is the wife is out. She works later on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is why I think I'll do it then. But yeah, so how does this work in the back end? So, we could quickly, let's just take a look at this. We could go and create a new alert window. And we could say, for example, I want a new high. and say, or no, let's do something fancier. Let's say cross above the open. Let's make it fancier. So we want this thing to have, pulled back a bit and then come back through its opening price like that. That's what we want. And we want the last time it has done that to be at least 4 minutes ago. And then we're going to put position in range. And we're going to say the position in the previous day's range, because we basically want all of these to trigger in the high end of yesterday's range. We don't want them to trigger if they're up here. We don't want to trigger if they're down here, right? We want them in this area. Right, this is why I do this chart surfing at night, because I basically want it to open up and I want it to break through. So basically what I'm saying is this, by doing this, is that I want the stock to open somewhere in this area and I want it to pull down and then I want it to push back up through. And I want you to buy right here and then I want to stop under this low. And then, you can either say hold it for X amount of days or you can manage the exits yourself. So by making this 80 and 110, I'm basically saying, I want it up in that range. And then from there, we go to the symbol lists and we add in my liked list in the symbol list tab here. And as soon as we do that, it will say only the following lists, which is fine because we only want it to look at that list. And then we hit OK, and we'll just call it through. And you could point, what is it? Red to green. Let's just call it. You could do this with any number of different or many at the same time, different strategies. Because if you do, for example, your thing is a cross below yesterday's or above yesterday's high, you can do a couple of those, right? That's kind of entirely up to you, right? So if, we're going to take this and we're actually going to save this to the cloud, just like that, and then close it. Question, can you specify how much it should pull back as a percentage before entering the trade? You could say I want it down so and so percent on the day. For that, I would probably use the above low filter, because if I wanted it crossing through the opening right here, I could say I want the opening and the low, I want those 2% apart, which would mean it has to pull back 2% before popping up. You could do that. You can do just about anything, right? You got to take the time to learn the system, right? Now we'll go into Brokerage Plus, and let me actually delete this one that I currently have, and let's try this one tomorrow. I'll try this one in paper. I'm obviously going to do the thing that I've been doing for ages on my other one. So we right click in the middle of the window, we click load from cloud, and we're going to load red to green, and we're going to add that to existing. And then we go edit it, and we'll confirm that, right, there's the settings that I put in to trade, and it's pointed to my list, and I want it to be a long setup. And for entry time, right, I sit out that first 5 minutes of the day. It's just the way I like to do it. And then, I'll enter until pretty much the end of the day in through here. I want to only send, say the first 5. I only want to fill the first 5 orders, which is what you put in here. Basically says only take the first 5. If all of them trigger tomorrow, I just don't want to be in all of them. Order details, I want to do this based on stop loss, and I want to risk my 500 per position. And I want to enter via limit, and I'm going to say I'll pay up 10 cents. And I'll leave it as a good to cancel order. This is all how I get into the position. Now for risk management, I use this little custom where I put the stop at yesterday's low, right? I can just put that in there, And for a target, I'll not really put any. I'm trying to play around more with targets, but it's not really something I'm super into right now. And then hold time, I'm just going to leave that as none to manage myself. Or, right, if I wanted to get fancy, I could say at market close, how long to your guys' election? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days. So I could say tomorrow plus 4 days. And then if I just click OK, then when I wake up tomorrow and I connect it, I'll just connect it to the sim. But if I connect this to, instead of the sim, I connect it to my Interactive Brokers account. And then I just click Enable Selected. As soon as that's on, I'm done, right? This thing is just going to then trade itself. It will buy any or up to 5 of those positions that I put on, whichever 5 happen first, that I'm interested in. It will buy them. It will put out the stop loss. It will calculate my position size, and it will close them the day of the election at the close. Simple as that. Now, how I manage them is what I do, and I showed you with VIPs today, right? Is I had this on the list yesterday. So it bought right here with a stop kind of down in this area, right? And it made it that this risk was about $500. It pushed up. Now, generally what I would do is I take a look at the end of each day. And if I'm up 1 or 2 times my risk, so if I'm risking $500, if I'm up, between $500 and $1,000, I'll look to exit generally half of my position. And then I use, and that's why I have this moving average on the chart, is I'll use a close below this moving average to exit the second half. So if the thing just wants to grind up, slowly, but for a long time, I can really make a big chunk on that other one. And that's, you've probably heard of the Pareto principle when it comes to different things. For me, it's true in trading as well. Most of my income and one of this account, the accounts I trade like this, is up 150% year to date. And again, that's going to be in 20% of your trades if that happens. It's something that runs up. So what I will do is each day, let me see if I have any positions in the sim to show you guys. Do I have anything in the sim? I do. Right. So if I, for example, right, I can drag every day. I can go through and I can say, okay, I want to put the stop here. Right. And then say it moves up a little bit. And I say, okay, now I want to put the stop here. And then it moves up a little bit. So I just drag my stop up as things go. And then, maybe eventually get stopped out. And my hope is that I give it enough time and enough room that I'm able to, make a decent chunk of change off that last half, making sure that the trade gets risk-free as quick as possible, kind of thing. So again, that's it. That's how I trade, and that's me being done for the day. So again, without you guys, it takes about a half hour, and with you guys, looks like it takes about an hour. So if you guys are interested in this style of analysis, if you're interested in the way that I trade, if you're interested in watching me scan for these things and telling you guys what happened with some of the positions, because I think what the game plan would be is on Thursday, I would go over, and a couple of the positions, maybe not all of them, but a handful that we went over last time, and say, hey, this is what happened, and this is where I exited, and this is why, and this is how much money I made, and these are the ones that didn't work. Great. Let me know. Share everything around. Again, right below the video is the ability to save a couple bucks in trade ideas. Full disclosure, it helps out the channel, right? It's, I get paid for doing it, kind of thing. So feel free to give it a shot there. Also, there is an email below for mentorship class that I do. If you're interested, email me. I'll also just put my email here. And you know, I can't mentor everyone that emails me. I will send you a video about what we go over, and you know how all that works. If we find that we're a good fit, great. If I come back and say I don't think we'd be a good fit, I suggest you do this instead. Right? That's it. I just don't have enough time in the day. But you know, I like doing that because I like helping out traders. You know, again,